guys. Hey, welcome to the first ever Pure Whitetail Podcast. This is something that... POD. Grant has a hard time saying that word for some reason, podcast. So it's something that we've been wanting to do. We feel like we got a lot more to say. And Grant and I are pretty passionate about a lot of things besides just the business or just DRP, but the hunting industry in general and life in general. A lot of things, you know, we have a lot of strong opinions about stuff. Like, for instance, I know one topic that we're going to cover in the future is the overwhelming sense of a youngster coming into the sport and feeling like they have to kill a big deer.
I hate it.
We absolutely hate it, and we, you know, it's just something, you know, it's, if that's what is for you, by all means do it. It's not for us, but that's for another thing. So this is our first ever podcast. That kind of gives you an idea that we're not just going to be talking about pure whitetail.
No, not at all.
Not at all. This is just, you know, pure whitetail is kind of like who we are. So
like the big thing today is the greatest word that you had to overcome was fear.
Fear, yeah.
So
right.
I mean, that's going to be what we talk about today.
Yeah.
If you can overcome fear in anything you want to do in life,
right,
then you're going to succeed.
You're limitless.
Beyond belief.
Yeah, you're limitless, basically. So what we're going to talk about today is like the very first beginning, the very beginning of pure whitetail. So, I guess we'll just dive right into it. Like I said, we're green at this podcast thing, but we do feel like we both have a lot to say. But so we're going to start out this very first episode of kind of giving us a little bit of background on myself. You know, where I come from. Grant will give you a background about him, where he comes from, and then we'll tell you all about pure whitetail, the history of it, and then we'll just dive right in and just, like I said, we feel like we got a lot to say, and we'll just go from there.
I mean, one of the main things that burn in my image, or my memory, I say, the image is me and you standing at that fire down there at the barn.
Oh, yeah, that was an awesome
our backs
picture.
To it, and I mean...
Yeah, that was a good picture. I just seen that on my phone.
Create something great.
Yeah, I just seen that. Yeah, that was when we were doing the expansion.
Yes.
Because we had already had pure whitetail for a year, and we kept adding deer to the herd.
Yeah.
And we needed more room.
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of was like.
Or the picture of me and you kneeling down in the deer pens.
Right. That was when, you know, I think that might have been before that picture with the bonfire, but. That picture right there, I think we both realized we were on to something.
Yeah.
You know, because we already knew how passionate we was about it. We already knew that. But to invest, and back then, to invest that much money into fencing at the time. I mean,
when we started buying poles and fence, and when a bag of sackcrete, one bag was expensive.
Yeah.
And we were counting the poles and bags, and each pole took 2 bags, and we were starting to sweat it because we had so many poles, and we were like, what are we going to do?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I was nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Grant was like, Josh, I got to go buy this. Do we have enough money?
Do we have enough money? Can I go get enough concrete to concrete the poles in?
Right.
And
yeah, it was, we're getting far ahead of ourselves. So I'll start out.
We're getting pretty far.
Yeah, so I'll just start out, tell everybody a little bit about myself, my background, how I got into the industry, and all that jazz.
Before you do that,
okay,
I just want to set one memory on the table for you.
Okay. All right. Oh Lord, what do we got here? You gonna set one memory? Oh boy, you ain't freaking kidding.
For the guys watching it.
That's where we come from.
That's where we came from,
That's where we came from. Yep, that's awesome.
I mean,
yep. That's what we put on every day.
Every day.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And we got 2 guys in the room. One guy that still puts it on.
Still puts it on every day with us, and
Willie P. And then Nate that we just hired full time. This past summer, and he don't have to put it on anymore. So. Well, I don't feel so bad for Willie though. Willie's got a pretty good cushy job. He's a union man at the union halls. Willie got it. Willie like George Jefferson. He moving on up. He's doing all right. Yeah. So I'll do a little tell you about me. So I was born and raised right here in Middletown, Ohio. Spent my childhood, I spent a lot of time down in eastern Kentucky, growing up with my grandparents at the log cabin down there. Had some property. My grandpa passed away when I was 15, but up until then, he taught me a lot about the outdoors. Hunted, fished. He's the one that always would walk around and tell me what kind of trees were there. He was that guy. He was my best friend. He was a dandy. He was just the perfect grandpa. Passed away when I was 15, and spent a lot of time down there with my grandma and grandpa. My mom and dad were divorced. I had an amazing stepdad who passed away about 8 years ago. Passed away at 53 of cancer. And then my dad and my mom is awesome. My dad and stepmom. Obviously, my dad. For those of you who know my dad knows that his whole life is hunting and fishing, just like me. Hunting and fishing, family, and but. So, my dad taught me everything I know about fishing, and then I turned around and I kind of, he taught me a lot about hunting, and then when I kind of took it a little bit farther, I was able to kind of help him out with the hunting and stuff. So then, I graduated high school, went to college for 2 days. Quit on my second day.
Hey, hold on. How much you learned in them 2 days?
I learned that I didn't want to be in college. And the bad thing about it is I went all through high school, starting at freshman. I did all that college prep junk, And I'm sorry, don't mean to offend anybody that did all that and needed it, but let me tell you something. I worked my guts out thinking I wanted to be a doctor or whatever, and then second day of college, I was like, I'm out. Mm-hmm. I'm done. And then I got a job at Square D Company, the electrical company. My stepdad got me on there. He was an electrical engineer, and he got me on there, worked there for a little bit, and then started at AK at 20 years old. You
waited for that golden angel to show up, didn't you?
Let me tell you something. When Grant
you waited for that gold. Hey,
Willie knows this is true. When Grant walked in the AK, he looked up in the sky and seen the angel sitting up there and said, "That's my ticket out of here."
Hey. That first day I was in there sitting in that first safety meeting, you walked in, you looked at me, and I glue. You're like, oh boy, there's my buddy. There's my partner in crime.
Right. That's right. So, as Grant said, I had been the AK about 10 or 11 years, and just, working. I mean, me and Willie worked right together, and Willie knows, boy, we worked a lot of doubles, we worked a lot of hours, worked 70, 80 hours a week was not uncommon. Then after about 10, 11 years, Grant hired in there. And then Grant and I struck up a friendship right away. Started hanging out together, did a little hunting together. And then all of a sudden, we were driving down the road, and we were trying to come up with a name for a deer scent company. Grant and I was involved in another business, and that had went away, and we were driving down the road, and I believe it was me, you, Rachel, and who was the other person in
Chris
the car?
Saylor.
Chris Saylor.
I think Hunter might have been there too.
I think maybe.
We were riding in
a little car.
Rachel's car.
Rachel's black GMC she used to have.
Was it black, or was it the Ford Escape?
Oh, it might have been that.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I remember she had guns all over the car. She was like, "Oh, there's a gun in there. There's a gun in there."
Yeah.
So,
hey, the first time I met Rachel, she had a leg hold trap in the front floorboard. I was like, well, I guess I'm hanging out with the right kind of girl then.
Yeah, that's right. You were like, true love, huh?
Yeah.
Leg hold trap. Yeah. So we were driving down the interstate, and
we were coming back.
Well, we're going to the.
Or we coming back or going to?
Where we're going to?
To the Columbus,
Ohio Deer and Turkey Expo.
Yep.
In 2017.
Yep. That spring.
Yeah, that spring. And we were trying to come up with a name, and all of a sudden, I look back for some reason, Grant, you were in the back seat.
Was I really?
Rachel was driving, I think.
Rachel. One time I remember we were all passed out and Rachel was driving.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, just like we were all fell asleep.
Yeah, not passed out drunk. We were tired.
We were tired.
Yeah.
Was
that same trip, but on the way back.
Yeah, we were working.
We were working at the mill.
Yeah.
And And
every moment I could close my eyes.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. So we were riding down the interstate, and I remember turning back and looking at Grant and saying, "I got it," and I said, "Pure Whitetail."
And I was like, "It's taken."
And everybody in the car said, "You idiot! That name is taken. There's no way that's trademarked. Somebody's already got it trademarked. That website's taken." So I hopped on GoDaddy and I typed in purewhitetail.com and it said it's available. And just so everybody knows, I'm going to tell you how much we paid for purewhitetail.com. 99 cents. We paid 99 cents. I bought it right there in the car when we were driving down the highway, and we couldn't believe it.
Talk about lucky.
Oh, you talk about, yeah. We were blessed to be able to get that. And when I said it, and they all was like, "No way, you're crazy. That's not available." And then I looked it up and told him it was available. Grant's like, buy it right now. Like some, it's never been bought. So it was like,
he couldn't get it processed fast enough.
I could not I couldn't type my phone fast. Grant was like, hurry up. So we bought purewhitetail.com for 99 cents. Then we trademarked it and done all that jazz. But then the whole time walking around, I don't think Grant and I we couldn't even enjoy the show because the only thing we can talk about was what we were going to do.
The wheels were rolling.
The wheels were rolling. And, I remember when we first started, we said we was all about deer scent, but we wanted it to be much more than that from the very beginning. We didn't want to concentrate solely on deer scent.
Deer scent was going to be our
main thing,
the pumper of the of the lifeline,
right?
And we wanted to be able to branch,
right,
and keep branching until we weren't, we were tired of branching.
And I remember saying that day, if it has anything to do with whitetails, we want Pure Whitetail to have it.
Yeah.
So before we go any farther, you tell a little bit about yourself and how excited you was to meet me for the first time, and.
I'll tell them how you were excited to meet me. Your eyes just like glimmered. I mean, just saying. But no, just like Josh, I was born and raised out here in Madison Township, and actually the road I grew up on was Elk Creek Road, where the farm is today. Just on the other side, we call it out here towards Trenton side. I'm on Elk Creek.
What? 3 miles away?
3 miles away.
Yeah.
So. Still on the same road. Kind of crazy how life goes around. So I would say the biggest person that ever got me into hunting was my grandpa. And
now, is that Grandpa Jack?
Grandpa Jack that comes. He used to help us a lot.
He's a dandy.
He'd help us a lot, and
he was an AK guy too, right?
AK guy. My whole family's AK. My dad's AK. My grandpa was AK. He was
your dad worked at. I mean. I used to wave at your dad all the time from the crane.
Yeah.
And Willie knew your dad. Nate knew your dad from AK. And then
they knew they needed me in there to come rescue you guys.
Gosh. So your dad did what? 47 years?
No, 43 years.
43 years.
43 years at the mill.
Wow.
On the pickler side, he did 31 years in picklers.
31 years.
So we called the picklers a cold mill.
Yep.
But all tied together.
Yep.
But the most craziest thing is I remember my grandpa and my dad taking me on my first hunt, and you won't believe it. I was on West Alexandria Road next to the farm my dad grew up on across the street from Ristanio's, and we were hunting rabbits and pheasants.
Really? And now pheasants don't even exist around
pheasants
here.
Don't exist.
Very few. I forgot to tell you, but me and Logan was driving down Route 4 the other day and seen 4 pheasants.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know the farming's got to do a lot. They've cleared out a lot of fence lines for the pheasant. But I remember that first hunt. I remember the pictures of me and my grandpa. My grandpa take me to the butcher house on his first one of his biggest 8-point bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I give a lot of credit to my grandpa for driving this passion. Right. And as I grew up, me and my friends, well, actually one, Brandon Perry, Ryan's little brother, we hunted every day. And we hunted over on Dickey Road Connie Back's place, and I mean, I didn't care what kind of season it was. We were hunting.
That's right.
We all grew up, and it kind of faded out a little bit, and I still love the passion about it, and I ended up getting married, and I job hopped for a little while, and I ended up in the gravel pits, and, in the wintertime, I always get laid off. And I finally decided to come out to the mill. I knew kind of what I was getting myself into because...
Yeah, and a lot of people won't understand what it's like in a steel mill. They don't understand, how rigorous that schedule is. It's not necessarily... I mean, there's a lot of... Trust me, it's a steel mill. There's a lot of tough jobs out there, but they don't understand that schedule.
That's what we called Willie for when the tough jobs happen.
That's right. That's right. So, but we did... a lot of people won't understand... I mean... how difficult that schedule was.
I mean, you tell me when you, not to get off subject, but you work 16 hours, you get, say 45 minutes home, in bed, get back up, eat, and go back in for another 16-hour shift, and then go home.
You might have 4 hours of sleep.
4 hours of sleep, and come back in for an 8-hour shift.
Yeah.
Some people, I mean, you guys don't understand. You talk about walking like a zombie and just being totally drained. That's how it was.
It was rough, yeah.
But so I knew what I was getting myself into walking in the mill, and we call it on the cold mill the chain. I remember, Josh was slinging 100,000 pound coils over the top of my head, and there's a back door, and I could look out the back door, and I was like, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah, right.
What have I done?
And I don't want people to mistake, because you and I have, especially, I mean, we spend a lot of time together. I mean, me and you are together more than anybody else. I spend more time with you than Heather. I mean, we spent thousands of hours in the truck together. Me and you've talked about this. We don't want people to ever get the idea or the notion that they think that we were ungrateful for that time at AK. But let's be honest. AK gave us
us the fire.
It gave us the fire, but it also gave us one heck of a life. We made great money, but we had to live there to earn it. We lived at the mill.
Lived there, and not to get off where I was starting. In the first few years, me and Josh both learned that we no longer working at AK, working for ourselves. We couldn't buy anything no more.
Boy, you ain't kidding.
I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean, from. Well, if I wanted a new car, new boat, anything I wanted in the world, if I wanted to go finance it, all I had to put that I worked at AK Steel. And they're like, sign it, you're out the door.
Yeah, you didn't have to put anything. It's almost like they didn't even, when you work, and I'm sure Willie knows this, when you work around here, you go try to buy something, all you do is put AK Steel on your little credit thing, and they don't it's like they don't even care what your credit score is.
No,
they're like, he can just work overtime to pay for it.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. When them first few years of us being out of there and us trying to go buy something, they just laugh at you. They're like, you work for yourself?
No.
They're like,
we still experience it.
We still experience it, yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to redo my kitchen upstairs, and I'm not gonna lie, I got denied to redo the kitchen, and I had to call and say, well, this is what I do, and they had a background, basically like almost a background check me to approve me for a financing
to do your kitchen,
to do my kitchen.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it
ain't always all cracked up to be on.
Well, yeah, I think on the outside, people think it's a lot of people think it's sunshine and rainbows, but they have no idea, what it's took to get to that point.
No. But, I mean, so I remember standing down there looking at that chain and, looking out the door. I'm like, what am I doing working inside, working in a factory?
Right.
But, I mean, it provided for my family.
Yeah.
And then I met you, and we started working together, started hunting together. I went through, I say a bad divorce in my heart, but,
well, they're all bad.
They're all bad.
They're all bad. Just in different ways.
Me and my kids' mom get along great now and do great, do great raising kids separately. But at that time it was bad. And finally got my divorce over, and we started Pure Whitetail right away. I had to buy a new home, bought the place where the farm's at now.
Yep.
And
going right into construction.
Go right into construction mode.
Your farm.
And me and you financing. No, I shouldn't say financing. Me and you out of pocket paying for the farm, everything. And I just went through. I'm like, holy cow, this is draining me. And I mean, and I go.
It was scary.
It was scary.
Scary.
and I didn't have no money at all. And just to say, I ain't afraid to tell you guys, the day I walked out of the mill, I had $3,000 in my bank account.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because we had spent it all.
We spent it all.
We spent everything we had.
And you said we were leaving, and
yeah, and I'm
like, okay.
And I had money in my 401k, and I was like, because I had been at AK a long time.
Yeah.
And I had a pretty nice 401k, and I was like, if we can't make it, I'll help you.
Yeah.
I'll pay your bills with my 401k. I'll pay both of our bills with 401k if we don't make it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
But it was scary.
It was scary. So, and prior to all us quitting and all that, we started it. We got it built. We started selling June 1st.
June 1st of 2017.
And about July, we had the first bash.
Yep, July.
And after the bash, we started writing the word fear.
Yeah, right.
And the word fear, you say, I have no fear.
Oh.
I'll call your bluff any day in the world on that, because if you can overcome it, you'll be the greatest. But if you can't overcome it, in personal level, I say
personal level, yeah,
personal level,
and it doesn't matter if it's.
I'm not saying fear that I'm afraid to fight this dude, or I'm not afraid to jump off this cliff, or I'm saying fear at a personal level that you're going to put everything on your line.
Yeah.
Your house, your family, your kids.
Right.
And
because if this didn't work, it wouldn't have went well for either one of our relationships.
No, I mean,
after having a comfortable, because
Heather
were
was crying
out
there in the barn lot.
Yeah.
One day, and I'm like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to be okay, but I had to say it's going to be okay.
Right.
We're going to get through this, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah. And for those you don't know, Heather's my wife. So
yes.
But there was the stress level was, as Willie knows, the stress level on Grant and I was so great that it was incomprehensible, the amount of stress.
Oh,
I mean, literally.
That's why I'm half bald now.
Yeah, no kidding. That's why I'm all the way bald.
You were bald before I met you.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry.
But that's why all this white's here anyway, I guess. But
hey, Nate's got more white than you.
Nate has caught me past me.
Oh, he's past you.
Yeah, he's way past, yeah.
So,
but
look at Willie. Willie's the same age as you.
I know it, man. Willie still looks good.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, hey, did you get
that? Right. But but I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. They see the outside. They have no idea what it took to get there. They don't see the stress and the toll. And a lot of people don't understand, they see you and I getting along so well. They see us.
Ask us about our first Pure Whitetail meeting down here at this barn at, where the deer farm's at now.
We all
ask him about the first Pure Whitetail meeting.
It was almost a fist fight at the very.
I bet the neighbors got entertained.
They did.
Because I have a bunch of neighbors in front of us, and it was a full-blown screaming match.
It was a screaming match with both of us just telling each other how stupid each other was, that you have no idea what you're talking about. What are you doing? What makes you think we can do that? Blah, blah, blah. But I think that's, and we're just now Pure Whitetail after, we're getting ready to start. It's getting ready to be our 4-year anniversary. We're getting ready to start our 5th year. We're just kind of getting to the point where we understand each other even more. And we're literally talking that we're together every single day.
And we don't yell as much anymore.
We don't yell and argue as much. I mean, we still do.
We still are. Oh,
we still argue. But it's not on that level, because I think we understand each other. And
we still had the mill attitude.
We still had that mill attitude, like, I have a bad attitude about life. I just worked 100 hours this week. And a lot of people, I mean, it's no secret that Pure Whitetail has a lot of haters. But if I feel like, and it really doesn't matter to me, but I feel like if they knew what we sacrificed and what we had to do to get here, it would be mad respect instead of hating us, because they, and we just talked about this recently, we just talked about this last weekend. We talked about you said, do you remember standing in the shop at 3 a.m. when we had to be clocked in at work at 6, and we were standing in the shop at 3 a.m. We had already worked a day turn, come to the farm. It was 3 a.m. and we were still working, still packing orders. And I looked up at Grant, and this was the summer. This was late summer of 17, and I looked up at you. I said, we're done.
We're quitting.
We're quitting. I said, we are quitting, AK.
Yeah.
And we had this was like August.
So we're 3 months into it.
Yeah, less than 3 months. All of June, all of July. So August. We're about, somewhere in August. We're less than 3 full months into Pure Whitetail. And I tell Grant we're going to walk away from a fantastic job that provided a fantastic living for.
You never had to worry about anything.
You never had to worry about anything. You never had to worry about money. You knew it was always going to be there. You knew you always could work overtime to make more money. It was a good, solid paying job. And I looked at Grant at 3 a.m, and we were literally, people don't believe it, but we were literally working 130 hours a week.
Hey, guess what?
What?
I hold the record.
Hold a record for being late at work.
That's right.
we were killing ourselves, but we were literally, I promise you, it is possible to work 130 hours a week because we were doing it for months. Mm-hmm. And I looked at Grant and I said, we're done. I said, we are literally killing ourselves. We were zombies. Like he said, my wife would stand out outside the barn and she would cry because of what we were doing. And I told Grant, I said, we're done. That's it. We're going to make this move. And because you know how it is, me and Grant were constantly sending each other
motivational videos.
YouTube motivational videos.
Oh, my God. Hey, yeah. And let me tell you, if you need motivation, you guys think I might be silly or something like right now, but if you would listen to the right motivational videos on YouTube,
oh,
they do help, don't they?
Yeah, they do help.
Because we were, like he said, we were sitting back and forth to each other, and I would sit there and listen to him. I would sit there and listen to him when I fall asleep.
Right.
I'd listen to him in the morning on the way to work.
Yep.
I'm like, we got this. We can do this.
We can do this. And I remember listening to that Steve Harvey one where he talks about jumping, and I'm like, I can do it, man. When he said God won't let you fall, and I'm like, that's it. And I told Grant at 3 o'clock in the morning. That was in late August of 17, and so I had enough time to do an early retirement, and so I called AK. I called the headquarters, and I said, what do I got to do to retire? And she said, how old are you? I said, I'm 39. She goes, well, you got to be 40. She goes, when do you turn 40? I said, October 4th. She said, you can retire on October the 5th, and you can take an early retirement. She said, do you have at least 15 years in service? I said, yes, ma'am. I got 19 years and so many months. And she goes, okay. She goes, you can do that. And she goes, well, when you decide if you want to do it, you just call me back. I said, no, we're doing it. I'm doing it right now. I want to sign up right now. She goes, are you serious? And she goes, yeah. She goes, do you mind me asking what you're doing? And I said, I'm going to sell deer pee for a living. She goes, excuse me? And I said, I'm going to sell deer pee for a living. And she goes, are you serious right now? She goes, you're quitting. I'll never forget it. I don't know. Willie, you probably know her, but I can't remember who it was. I said, yes, ma'am. That's what I'm going to do. She goes, well, if you're serious, I'll go ahead and start the paperwork. She said, I just need your clock number and your information. And she goes, I'll get it started. I said, yes, ma'am. I want to sign the papers.
Hey, what's your clock number?
2298.
15132.
Yeah, I know yours because I used to have to sign you in because you were always late. I know Willie's clock number, too. I still remember it.
Did you have to sign him in?
No, not really, but I do remember his clock number. I got a thing for numbers.
We'll save the time for when you had to wake him up.
Yeah, we'll save that story for later.
When we'll get him live on here.
That's right. But no, I told that lady, I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I want to start the paperwork. And when I told her I was going to sell deer pee for a living, she goes, well, you're going to leave AK to sell deer pee? I said, yep. She said, okay. And then you and I walked out the door. October 5th, 2017 is when we walked out the door.
Do you remember that walk?
Oh, I remember that walk.
I remember that walk.
I don't remember my feet hitting the ground, but I remember the walk out. But I don't think my feet were touching the ground.
You talk about having a lump in your throat.
Oh yeah, yeah. When it was kind of like it was an exciting feeling, but
a scary feeling.
A very, very scary feeling that the weight of the world was on my shoulders, because, when we walked out together, basically you had my future and my family's future in your hands and vice versa. I had your future in my hands and your family's future. So, you had the weight of the world on your shoulders, and it got better.
Sorry, Nate.
I think you just got the look.
I got the look from it.
You making too much noise with your
guess
cup.
I shouldn't put ice in my drink.
Yeah. So, and to a certain extent, that kind of weight, and it's totally different. It's a totally different weight when you don't actually own the company. But to a certain extent, I don't think that weight will ever go away because you are directly responsible. Your actions every day depends on if your family survives.
Yeah. I mean,
your family eats.
Well, the weight's still there today. You calling, where we at, what we doing.
Right.
How we doing.
How are we making this? Right.
How are we making it? Because, it was me and you and our families, and now we have Nate full-time. And we got, Willie and Chris and, all the other guys.
Yeah, we actually have 16 people.
16 guys that
get it. Yeah.
Some are, Nate's full-time now, and, our goal is to get the other guys there.
Yep.
But it's like that weight that you carry, and, the more, it's a different weight.
It's a different weight, yeah. And it's a different weight. It's
stress.
Yeah, yeah, you can stress real quickly. It's a totally different, I guess it's really, really hard to explain because...
Yeah, it's a hard one to explain.
It's a hard one to explain. You're on your own, you make your own schedule, but with that comes the if you're not responsible, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You are, well, if you're not responsible...
If me and you decide to goof off for a week or two, and whatever goes on...
Yeah.
It don't affect,
Right.
It affects me and you, but then it affects everybody around us
Everybody around us.
And, that's a different thing.
It's a different feeling, But getting back to the start, we were kind of rambling on there, but getting back to the start, we walked out of the mill.
Yeah.
And
No fear.
No fear.
I won't go back to that a little bit.
Yeah.
I say no fear. I think it'd be a good shirt for Pure Whitetail, no fear.
Yeah.
Just sit and think about that, mind rolling that.
Yeah. I think no fear is trademarked, but
Can we?
Probably trademarked, but we'll figure it out.
We'll figure that out somehow.
Yeah.
But me and Josh were right. We would send motivational videos, no fear motivational videos. We would do everything in the world. We had a dry erase board down there in the barn, and I'd go down there and I'd write no fear. So I was down there cleaning the stalls and.
Well, you wouldn't write no fear. You just write fear.
Fear. That's right. Fear.
Yep.
And I'd put it everywhere because I wanted to overcome that word.
Yep.
To make sure, I didn't have a fear to us, failing.
Yep. And I don't want people to think it was just the thought of quitting our job, job.
A comfortable job. We worked hard and did a lot of hours.
That was part of the fear, but also the fear was creating this, creating Pure Whitetail in general. Yeah.
So kind of go, to that word fear, we overcame it. Oh. And I will give, my grandpa taught me how to hunt and taught me all about hunting. But my aunt, Molly, Mark's wife, Manley,
yeah.
My aunt goes, "What are you afraid of? If you fall, you'll get back up."
Right.
And today it still sticks in. If I fell, if Pure Whitetail got going and it failed again, or if it failed tomorrow,
right,
I'd fall, but we'd get back up and go again.
Get back up and go again. Absolutely.
And to me, I was like, yeah, I guess so. I give her a lot of credit too for doing what we did.
Yep. And I of course, family had mixed emotions about it. I know your dad wasn't for it.
My dad, I didn't tell my dad.
Right.
I left the mill. You guys are going, we quit, and I still haven't told my dad. Well, he knows now, but we quit, And
they have to realize how big of a role your dad plays in your life to understand how big of a statement that is.
Yeah, I mean, I was afraid to tell. You talk about fear. There was my fear right there. I was going to tell my dad that I quit. A job that he retired from. My grandpa retired
and
from.
That he got you on it.
That he got me on that, and I was like,
I know he thought we were crazy.
Yeah, he thought we were crazy.
And and pretty much our whole family did. I mean, everybody thought we were crazy.
Well, my grandma said, "Well, you better have about $250,000 in your checking account." I'm like, "Ain't happening."
I got $3.
I got $3,000, and I quit.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, that's like our family. I don't know about like Josh's family too, but my family. I had mixed emotions, and my Aunt Molly said, "Quit."
Yeah.
Her husband, Mark, he worked at the mill and quit and did real estate.
Oh, and very, very
successful out here. I mean, where we live, everybody knows Mark.
Yeah.
And she says, like I said, if you fall, you'll get back up and go again.
Right.
But anyway, so we started Pure Whitetail, and we got rolling June 1st. We started selling product.
Yep.
A lot of screaming.
A lot of screaming.
A lot of arguing.
I think one of the number one arguments, and it's funny just to give people a little bit of idea of what goes on running Pure Whitetail. When you come out with a new product and to set the price here at Pure Whitetail, that is an argument. Okay, you guys have no idea how many scenarios Grant and I and Nate
play together,
and we play so many scenarios of what goes into the cost of a product, and a lot of people don't understand. They see, it's just a fact that 99.9% of other deer scent companies do not own their own deer. We own our own deer. So we have to factor.
You guys want to come on over and help me break ice tomorrow? Let me know, because
that's right.
I'm tired of breaking ice right now.
So that's what a lot of people doesn't factor in. To give the customer a good quality product, we knew we wanted to own our own deer, and to own our own deer is going to be a more expensive. It's going to be there's obviously more expense involved. Oh, boy, you just got the look.
I just got the look. I had to get one more time.
Nate gives the look. But to
you guys will learn more about that.
To bring that quality product to market with taking the expense of a herd of whitetails, a large herd of whitetails.
Yes.
Obviously, the product's going to cost more, but you're getting a far superior more product. Mm-hmm. It's not what you would say your average.
I know where the product comes from.
Exactly.
And we'll talk more about our staff stuff. We have the staff bash, and we bring the staff here to the farm the Friday before at your place. Mm-hmm. And we, that's where, they get to see it.
Right.
Right. They get to see full operation.
Yep. They see they don't know what it takes.
They don't know what it takes.
But they get to see that, they actually get to see the deer, and it's funny looking back, to where it's at now. First of all, building the barn.
Yeah. Then
putting the fence up. And if people knew what your soil is here, you don't have dirt, you got rock.
I got rock.
You got rock that has 2 inches of dirt on top of it.
You want to dig a hole?
No. Hunter's standing back here. He knows what it's like to dig a hole here. It's
and I'm not talking like a rock like this, like not like a 4-inch round. I'm talking a flat rock that expands from one side to the other.
It's a post hole digger for the first 6 inches, then a spud bar the rest.
Yeah, and you're gonna dig a flat rock up that's probably a 3 foot by 3 foot flat rock.
Yep,
and it's terrible.
It's bad. Hunter and Logan got really close to the spud bar back in the day.
Hunter don't know yet, but we're expanding again this spring because we got the babies coming.
So we're gonna need that. We're going.
Hey,
you're
getting
you're 21 years old now. You ain't 17 like you was. That mullet,
you'll be cutting that mullet off because you'll be sweating too much.
So, but no, starting that and then starting the products, coming out with the products, then almost immediately coming out with our scent elimination line.
Yeah,
we come out with the scent elimination line.
You're getting fast.
Am I going too far?
Yeah,
too fast.
How about getting that deer in a stall?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
The first go around.
The first go around of.
Now they're trained like dogs.
Now they're trained like dogs. They open the door. They know exactly what stalls there is, and they'll just walk right in. But the first, wow. I can remember Chris Saylor got run over by one of the, who was it, Honey?
Honey or somebody.
A 1.5-year-old doe put Saylor on his back.
Flattened him on the long side.
Yeah, he done a little roll, tuck and roll.
Hey, I'll tell you this. If you ever want to catch a deer in the wild, you put one arm, so say you take your left arm, you put it underneath the front legs.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
So you got that part right there. So like you kind of like stab through there.
Yep.
And you take your right hand and you put it on top of their, back of their head.
Back of their head, yeah.
And you stand them up.
Yeah. They can't do nothing.
It's called the deer hop.
The deer
start
hop.
hopping like
They
this.
start hopping.
And you make your way to the barn.
Do you remember the time when we were trying to
take cedars out
of Wild Thing?
That's why
her name was Wild Thing.
Took both.
It was rough.
Put a little idea behind this. When we cedar a deer, that's how we put the deer into heat.
Yep. That's what most people want to know is how do you get estrus earlier?
So it's a cedar. Not to go into crazy extent with it.
Well, you can say it looks like a tampon.
Okay. It looks like a tampon. We sedate the deer. We call it knocking it down, but for proper terms, it's sedating the deer. Nothing happens. Nothing's hurt to her. We actually get to, take her temperature, give her vaccination shots, and everything she might need, for a pen-raised deer. Mm-hmm. And so we seed her, and 2 weeks later in that area, depending on weather and everything.
Yeah, it depends on weather, depends on the deer, the individual deer.
That cedar has a little plastic string on the end of it. And for deer farming tips on that cedar, make sure you cut that little ball off because the other deer are going to pull it out.
They're going to pull that. Yeah, there's a little ball on the end of the string.
Make sure you snip that ball off first.
Snip that ball.
There's you a tip from Deer Farming 101 right there.
Yeah, right.
Because I've walked out and I've had cedars in the pen before and I've had to re-cedar deer.
Yeah, and that ain't cheap.
It ain't cheap. So, more than sedating them again, because we use, here, we'll get the look. We get,
I'm drinking quieter than you are.
Oh, Lord. Is it BAM?
BAM, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to ask Rachel now. BAM, it's expensive. Very expensive to sedate deer, but it's the best of the best, in our opinion.
Yep.
So, more than sedating them again, and cost us, we call it, it's $100 to do a deer.
Yeah.
To sedate them.
Right.
We put them in the stall.
And when you're first starting,
$100
is a lot of money.
It hurts.
Well, it's $100 is a lot of money right now.
It's still a lot.
Yeah, it's still a lot of money.
And we still go in there and do it.
Right.
But they're more common. I can usually rub my hand down their back, and we fully alive in the pen, in the barn, in the stalls. We pull them out.
Yep.
And some girls are good about it.
Not sedated either.
Not sedated. And you talk about a rodeo bull, and you're the clown in the center.
Yeah,
and you're gonna get your butt whipped.
And 90% of the time, it's Grant's going in, and I'm holding the door shut.
Yeah.
And at this one particular time, Miss Wild Thing, Grant couldn't get it, and I'm out there. I'm just getting frustrated. I'm like, come on, we got a lot to do. We got to get that cedar out. So I was like, all right, let the old man in. I got mad and I was like, Grant, come on, let me in there. And I like to kill myself. Remember, I hit my head?
Yeah.
About knocked me out. I seen stars forever. But we ended up getting the cedar out. I tackled her, got her on the ground. That was the first year. That was rough. Now it's nothing like that now.
I mean, Rachel posted videos on Instagram and all that. Mm-hmm. Like, you can see the deer now, I mean, are trained.
They're so calm.
They're so calm. They're
puppy dogs.
If somebody says a deer doesn't have a memory and don't remember things, I guarantee you I can beat that because our bucks know what stall they like.
Yeah.
And that's the stall they go to. No matter which order they go up in.
Well,
they go into the same stall.
And we talked about this last year because we hadn't sedated a deer for a buck for a while. And we got the tube out, the long tube, that blowgun.
Yeah.
And they remembered more than 6 months before. They remembered what that was, and they took off.
Like,
so they remember.
When we'll sedate deer, I'll walk out. I'll walk behind Rachel and it's a blow gun, blow dart gun.
Yeah.
Because we can get close enough. We got to have it like an actual, gun. And I'll hide that black tube because as soon as I raise that black tube, I don't care if it's a buck, doe, or anything.
They know.
They know.
Yep.
They're like, oh, we're out of town.
Yep.
And if I have to get to deer close enough, sometimes I have to wait till dark.
Right. Well, I guess we should tell them, because a lot of people wonder where we got the deer. So obviously the deer just didn't show up.
Yeah.
So what we did was we bought from the very beginning. We thought we wasn't very sure that the deer pea side of it or the deer scent side of it could get us to where we wanted it and sustain it by itself to even feed the deer. Now, keep in mind, when we first started buying deer, we were still working full time and we wasn't doing. So what we did was we bought high quality.
We bought good bloodlines.
We invested in good bloodline deer to raising big rack. I guess you could say we invested in good genetics.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why we have 300-inch deer on the farm, is because when we first started buying deer, that's what we were investing in, and so that's really what broke us.
Yeah.
Because we were buying.
Well, like you said, we weren't sure that just the pea inside was going to support the farm.
Well, yeah, because in the beginning we were like, okay, we're gonna buy the best deer, which should create the best pea. You would think, as long as they're stress free, and we really concentrated on that stress free part. But we also said, well, we're going to raise big deer too. We're going to raise big bucks, and then turn around and sell them.
Good thing I wasn't bottle topping.
Yeah, we were thinking of selling.
I was stressed.
Yeah, that's right.
I was stressed out.
Yeah, we were thinking about selling big rack bucks too.
Yeah.
Luckily, we didn't have to do that, because that's a whole nother deal.
That's a whole nother deal, and a lot more paperwork and a lot more testing.
Right.
For that.
But so then when we finally got all the deer, and then we started getting back to that bonfire picture, I think that's when things started getting real. And when we started seeing a little bit of foothold in the industry, and we won our first Bow Hunting World Magazine award.
First year out
in 2018.
What did you? I mean, I know it was third place.
Yeah.
But did you feel like the king?
Oh, I felt like I was on top of the world, and it was, and I guess we also need to give credit where credit's due, because that field staff helped us get that name out there, right off the bat. People want to know how you did it. Well, first of all, we got the greatest field staff ever assembled in the world, in any industry, in my opinion, not just the hunting industry.
Yeah.
And they got the word out for us. So coming off right at the very beginning as a brand new company in the hunting industry, which the hunting industry is super, super hard to break into, and to come right out and win a Bow Hunting World Reader's Choice Award, a magazine that I'd been reading, my whole life.
Oh, yeah.
And then to come right off the bat and win an award from them, it was like, holy cow, we just won an award in a magazine, Yeah. And then we was like, okay, that was a fluke, it must have been all field staff, doing it, voting for us. And then we won it again, but won silver, and I'm like, holy cow, we just won another award.
I'm going to say last year at this time we knew who won.
Yeah, for some reason we don't know who won yet.
For some reason we don't know.
I know it.
I know. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
It could be like the election.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be surprised if we don't win some kind of award, but that and
we go for the gold.
We got to go for the gold. That's right. But it's funny how we've evolved, from where we started and going all the way back to that beginning when we said Pure Whitetail is a name that can be so much more than just deer pea. And at the beginning, if you remember, we were constantly saying it's much more than deer pea.
Yeah.
And
I feel like some people get mad because we've evolved into more than just deer pea.
Right.
We've evolved,
which makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, we've evolved into seasoning. We've evolved into having a pure whitetail bow, to food plot seed, to scent eliminator, to.
Well, if they're mad, they're going to be really mad, because we're coming out with everything.
Yeah, they're going to get madder. But that's why I feel like people are like, well, I'm not going. No, so I can tell the truth here. But I seen one comment. When's enough?
Right.
It's never enough.
It's never enough. Right.
And
If you want to create something in the industry, and don't never be satisfied.
No, I want to be number one. So if I satisfy myself with just selling this deer pee bottle for a living, and that's it.
And it never was. I think that's where some people get confused. It never. I mean, from day one, we always said it was much more than just deer pee.
And I just don't want to sell deer pee.
Right.
I want to be able to offer anything to do with whitetail hunting.
Anything to do with hunting. Right. It's what
with pure whitetail.
Yeah, it's what we're passionate about.
We're going into our fifth year, our full 4 solid years, and we're going to our 5th year, and people are starting to see it.
Right.
And people are getting aggravated.
Yeah.
And I can promise you right now, none of the products are failing. None of the products are going to lose their potency, or what they say. When's enough going to be enough?
I've seen the comment.
What was the comment I'm looking for?
The comment was their deer scent products have to suffer if they're doing this other stuff too.
Let me tell you something. There's a problem.
Yeah.
I make the products, and there's only a few guys, that guy and maybe that guy right there, that know how the products are made.
And they're made no different.
I can promise you that.
Then at the very beginning, if anything else, it's better than it was.
It's better, yeah.
Yeah, because we've learned little tricks of the trade,
There's tricks of the trade, and if I think I can make it stronger, I make it stronger.
Right.
And, when people make that comment, it really aggravates me because... Yeah.
Well, it aggravates me because all the time,
the time
we take pride in that product, and
yes.
We know that product
it's made right here. It's made right here on Elk Creek Road at the Pure Whitetail Farm.
Right, and we know that that's our livelihood.
Yeah.
So why in the world would we do something to jeopardize that?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, and I appreciate negative comments, because
if they're not talking about you good or bad.
That's what our lawyer, we went into the lawyer's office one time, we were talking, he asked us how everything was going. It was like, well, we got a lot of haters. He said, that's fantastic. And me and Grant kind of looked at him. I was like, what do you mean that's fantastic that we got a lot of haters? He said, it doesn't matter if they're talking good or bad. He said, as long as they're talking about you, that's right. All that matters. As long as they keep saying Pure Whitetail, whether it's good or bad, that is fantastic, he said, because that's what's going to take you guys to the next level. And I'm a guy that feeds off that. There's a lot of more backstory that I didn't cover of me getting my start in this industry. And, Willie was there with me in the beginning. And Willie, when we start filming in 04? Late 04.
Mrs. Martin.
Mrs. Martin, yeah.
We'll leave that conversation for another day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So, but me, I got started, but people just don't understand. I have that attitude. I've always had a lot of haters. I
don't like you.
I know, and I've been extremely lucky and extremely blessed to kill a lot of big deer, and people don't like you for that, number one. And then when you come out and you do some things that people's insinuation of you being successful, that's their own in their mind, what they're thinking. But I thrive off of that.
Oh yeah.
I've had some stuff in the past that I thrived off of to get to where we're at today, and I feed off of that hate and I feed off of that negative thing, because I'm just like you. You were a basketball player. You were extremely aggressive. You're extremely competitive. We both are. I was an athlete.
I'm counting down the days because this past, we made a bet.
Yeah.
That I have 1 month. I can't bet you, or what was it?
You can't bet me or say that you're going to beat me in something or something.
1 month. I have 1 month. So the countdown's on.
So it's like a competition to not be a competition.
Not take it the wrong way. Everything's a game to me.
Right.
And I put it in game perspective.
Right. Well, but that's because you're an athlete. Yeah. So I've always had.
What's that signal mean?
That means we're at 55 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, 5-5.
I'll wrap it up.
So, but you and I think that's one thing that's made Pure Whitetail successful is you're extremely competitive. I'm extremely competitive, and we both take things very, very personal.
Oh, I take it very well. Get back to starting Pure Whitetail. We were in business meetings when other people heard that we were going to start Pure Whitetail.
Yes.
And they wanted parts of it, or they wanted want to see what he would say. They want a piece of Pure Whitetail.
Yeah, right.
Before they ever got started.
Yeah.
And when they told us no,
you talk about burning fire.
You just like my fire more.
Yeah.
Tell me no again, please.
Right. And to see the hate that's out there now, and people think that think that by them talking about us, it gets us down. It's the exact opposite.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually renewed a fire this year, and I feel like sending them a letter or a gift card and saying
thank you
for getting the fire back, because now we're really going to put the pedal down.
Keep the fire going.
Yeah. Because I have the personality, like I feel like when I don't know how to explain it, but like in my mind, I will literally kill myself to win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean like Hunter, he knows that if I make a bet, I 1,000% will physically harm my body to win.
He lost that bet. He couldn't carry 3 bags.
Oh, I know.
I guess he needs to be. I guess he wants me to show him how it's done.
Right. But that's the way I am, and that's the way you and I have both. I mean, you're the same way.
People get tired of me betting you.
Right.
But it's the way I guess you say I have my drive.
And then with me being competitive on top of it.
About me jumping on the shop table.
Yeah, jumping on the shop table.
I better get her now.
There ain't no way.
You want?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was you gonna say?
Nothing.
Say that again.
Nothing.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, I think that's one reason why Pure Whitetail is successful, and as long as nothing catastrophic happens, it will always be because I mean, like when I'm talking about it, like I can't hold it back. Like I want to, I want to rip throat out of the competition and stomp on it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just my mentality.
That's a little aggressive.
That is very aggressive, but it's just my my mentality. And I mean, you know how I am. You know that I will physically harm myself to win at something. And but it's not just about winning, and it's about wanting to do for people too.
Yeah.
It's not all. We're not all. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like we're these bad, bad dudes that think, it's all about a competition, it's all about winning. We do it to give back and to change the industry. When we started Pure Whitetail, that's what it was all about, was changing what I had experienced at, while walking around at the ATA. I didn't want anybody else to not have a chance in the industry, and that's what Pure Whitetail has been about, is giving people a chance, and I feel like we've accomplished that.
Yeah,
up to this point,
we've accomplished it. Like anybody that wants to be part of Pure Whitetail could be part of Whitetail, and that's what we're next week we're going to talk about, and we're actually going to bring the staffer of the year of 2020.
Yep.
Live on here with us and let him explain to you of what we done. Because I mean, in all honesty, if we say we're known for doing the giveaways, we're known for doing the giveaways to the staff and just keep on giving them stuff.
Yep.
But and people get mad about it, and because they're like, oh, they're just doing that to make money. They're just doing it.
They have no idea.
I mean, if you knew how much things cost.
Right.
And broke it down and watch how much we spend on shipping and the cost of the product and all that.
Oh, yeah.
We're basically breaking even because we're giving something away to our staff. And, we've gave 4 aways. We've gave 4 aways to the public, to the staff.
Right.
To, and to products, to shirts.
And that's what sets us apart.
From everyone else.
I mean, look how little, in the grand scheme of it all, okay, Pure Whitetail's probably up there at number 2 in the scent game.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of it all, we're tiny.
Oh yeah, we're tiny.
And I just look at all these other companies and I think, man, what could they do if they wanted to? I mean, look at what little bitty Pure Whitetail gives away.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I won't say my comments next week for that because I've got some good ones there and things I want to say about that part.
Yep.
So I'm gonna save that.
But So that's kind of where Pure Whitetail came from. That's a little bit of insight. We bought purewhitetail.com for 99 cents. So yeah, 99 cents. So it was I'd say that investment's paid off a couple times. Yeah, it's done pretty well. But that's Pure Whitetail pretty much up to this point. There's a million more stories that we'll cover throughout this, and I'm sure we'll look back a ton and talk about it. But we got a lot of interesting topics. This podcast is not meant to be just about Pure Whitetail. We're going to cover a lot of controversial topics.
We just want to kind of introduce ourselves to this and how it came about. Next week it will be about the staff.
When we started Pure Whitetail, did you ever think we're going to have our own podcast? You didn't even.
POD.
You didn't even know what a podcast was, did you?
No. I mean, all honestly, I was the weekend hunter, and I met you, and we just started developing all this, and it became more where within 5 years, probably about 8 years, we figured it out the other day. I've learned a lot in 8 years. Mm-hmm. I mean,
old daddy took you under his wing, and
I just want to say, if you can overcome the fear,
yes,
you can do whatever you want.
That's right.
And that's what I did.
Yep. One thing that I do want to touch on, one guy that has been with Pure Whitetail from day number one.
Yep.
He's in some pretty rough shape. He fell at work. Our good buddy Richard Cron. He has been one of, if not the biggest Pure Whitetail supporter since day one.
His whole truck says Pure Whitetail.
His whole truck
says
Sick
for the hunt and Pure Whitetail.
Sick for the hunt, Pure Whitetail. He is 100% Pure Whitetail to the core, and we just want to let him know we're thinking about him. We're praying for him. He's having a rough time. He fell at work, and
he gets better. We're going to have him on here to talk about that youth Pure Whitetail that he started. That
he started the youth.
He ran it.
Yeah, the Pure Whitetail youth program, and he is a phenomenal person inside and out. We love that guy, and if it wasn't this dang COVID stuff, we would be up there right now visiting him, because I told Grant, when his wife posted the other day that she couldn't even go in, I was like, man, there ain't no way they're going to let us in to see him, but because we wanted to go up there and see him. But he's a great guy. Richard, we're praying for you, buddy. We love you. We can't wait till you get better.
He better be ready for the bash.
He better get ready for the bash. No matter what, if we got to drive up there.
If we got to drive and pick him up and put him in the trailer and bring him back down, we will.
We will go get him if we have to. That is for sure. He cannot miss the bash. So we love that guy. We appreciate it. But, guys, that's all we got for episode 1. We love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening to us. We're excited about everything Pure Whitetail. We're excited about diving into some of these controversial topics, telling you how we feel about some things. Next episode, as Grant alluded to, we're going to invite Chris DeMott on, which he was the 2020 Staffer of the Year. We're going to let him talk about what Pure Whitetail means to him and give you a little insight on what the staff entails from a different perspective between Grant and I, because it's hard for Grant and I to comprehend what it's like. We can only see it from the inside out, not from the outside in. So we'll have him on. We'll talk about our staff, and we'll start diving into a little bit more topics. So thanks, everybody, for listening to the very first pilot episode of the Pure Whitetail Podcast. POD. Grant has a hard time saying podcast. So podcast.
There, you got it for tonight.
Yeah, you got it. You got it
for tonight.
Yep. So, but thanks, everybody, for listening. As always, we love you. We appreciate it. We are 1,000% obsessed with hunting, obsessed with this right here. We absolutely love everything about it. And you guys make it fun for us, and we want to make sure that we make it fun for other people, and that we do give back, and we want to see everybody have an opportunity in this industry. If you would like to be a member of the Pure Whitetail field staff, right now all you got to do is go on to our main Facebook page and send a message, and we'll cover a lot more of that next week. But, Grant, you got anything else?
No, that's about it. I mean, like Josh said, if you're a beginner hunter, I want you. This
ain't the good old boy club. They need to know that.
Yeah,
that's why we started the Pure Whitetail field staff.
Yeah, this is, I'm a hunter. I want to learn more.
Yep.
And you want a place that you can ask a question and not get made fun of. let me tell you right now, you can ask a question in Pure Whitetail, and
you will not get made.
You will not get made fun of, and you will have 100 comments of people trying to help you.
Yep.
To get you to be a better hunter,
That's
and that's what hunting's supposed to be about. So we'll cover more of that next week.
Yep.
But like Josh says, I love everyone. We're passionate about it.
Even
like
our haters.
Even our haters.
I love them. Thank you.
You know, we're passionate about it, and
hey, it's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's my my number one goal is to create young hunters into hunters that are going to be hunters for a lifetime.
Yep.
Because
and give everybody a chance that wants a chance.
Because I got a chance.
Right.
And look where I'm at today.
You're welcome, buddy.
You're welcome. So, love you guys.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Yeah. See y'all.